Morning all, how we doing? Happy Monday. Morning Profstat, Diamond, David, how we doing? Welcome to Clock Confusion Monday. We'll have another Clock Confusion Monday on the 27th or 28th of March, whenever it is, when the UK changes their clocks and everything goes back to normal. Same every year. When is it they change actually? GMT UK clock. Ooh, can't spell. Clock change. I think it's the 27th or 28th. 29th. No, hang on. 27th. So yeah. So basically, clock changes. Nothing changes in the UK or Europe. It's only America that's changed their clocks. But unfortunately, a load of brokers seem to work off US times in their platforms, and they decide to shift forward. So it's now 11 a.m. my broker time for 8 cap for the Frankfurt Open. But for Robo Forex, it's still 10 a.m. So it's really confusing. It's horrible. I hate it when they do this. They do it every year. But nothing you can do about it. Right. 10:53 a.m. down here. Yeah. So yeah, 11 o'clock. So you're spot on. Well, if you're in 8 cap, you're spot on. It's 11 a.m. Frankfurt Open, but it's not. It's 8 a.m. But it was 10 a.m. last week. See what I mean? It's so bloody confusing, isn't it? Anyway, I don't bother changing stuff, but obviously you do. If you've got the price action toolkit, you do need to roll everything forward by 1 hour. If your broker has suddenly rolled forward by 1 hour, just roll everything forward by 1 hour. I've just set up basically plus 1 hour set and a normal set, so I can quickly flick back to the normal set in 2 weeks' time when we flick back in the UK. There's an oil gap. We got a Frankfurt. We got a DAX gap as well. But there's an oil gap which I'm playing this morning. I've just taken a small starter position on it with a tight stop, just to see if we can get this run up at the open. In fact, I might actually move that stop down a little bit because it's only a small position. Let's just pop it down below yesterday's low. Just in case they come down and try and tap that out. So yeah, just playing that little gap fill this morning on oil, and I've got a second position set up on a break of this high where we've just popped down for the last sort of hour. So this is the hourly high, with a view to them just pushing up this morning to do that. They may or may not do, but it's a nice, quick, easy trade if it works. Morning, Andy. Morning, Neo. We'll have a look at the COT report, news and everything. We've got 5 minutes, actually. Let's have a quick look at news, do a quick overview of the news and the COT report. COT report, we'll start with that because I'm not really paying much attention to the COT report at the moment anyway. But the interesting changes are we are now back short again on New Zealand. So New Zealand's flip-flopping, but they've not just gone short New Zealand, they've really piled into it, haven't they? So New Zealand bias short, the same as the Aussie now. Staying short on those bias-wise. Euro, we are tentatively close to flipping long on the Euro, which is interesting. Same across the board on the pound, the US dollar and the CAD. Swissy kind of ignore. The yen is still short technically. So yeah, it's all kind of changed on the New Zealand dollar. That's the only thing. Everything else is as it was. But the euro, interestingly, there's a lot of money piling out of the shorts. So yeah, not quite sure what's going on there. But as I say, at the minute with this war on, I'm not paying too much attention to that anyway. News this week, we've got nothing today. Aussie dollar tomorrow morning, we've got the monetary policy meeting minutes. So there'll be some Aussie and New Zealand volatility tomorrow morning. We've got PPI tomorrow afternoon for the US dollar. On to Wednesday, we've got CAD CPI. We've got retail sales for the US, and then we've got FOMC on Wednesday. So big day, FOMC day, massive movement potentially, or absolutely nothing. It's very, very hit and miss. They are expected to change rates. I think we will get some decent movement on this one. Morning, Gary. We got GDP for the New Zealand dollar released 15 minutes before the changeover. So some decent movement on New Zealand. So we got Aussie dollar tomorrow. We got New Zealand on Wednesday. Back to Aussie again on Thursday with the unemployment figures. We got the rates were going up again on the pound on Thursday, and then Friday we have a rest. So big old news day today, this week. Big old news week. So lots and lots of movement. Nothing much today though, so we might find we have a bit of an accumulation or a positioning day today. Difficult to tell what they'll do today, but yeah, there's no news catalyst today. Do you think because the euro is so extended about the yeah, maybe why they flipped long on the cot? Don't forget this is a week ago, so this is last Tuesday's figures we're seeing here, reported on Friday. So we're always a bit delayed, but it's interesting that they've been gradually coming out of the euro. It's a very, very gradual increase on long positions, or decrease on short positions, I should say. We don't necessarily know how much of that is long term. So, but yeah, it could be because it is so extended. The market is thinking the euro can't go down much more, but you know, anything can change at the minute. Still a bit dicey, aren't we? Right, so DAX is about to open. Well, the Frankfurt's about to open. DAX is open. Well, the DAX is moving. So I've got that oil trade on. DAX daily, we basically had odd day on Friday. We nearly did. Remember I said I was looking for a green to red move on Friday. We nearly got it. We got all that rejection in. So we did get the short sell-off. It is bearish. We've gapped up significantly. We've got to move down potentially on a gap. And the 24 is coming down on top of price at the moment. We're stuck at the moment inside this control candle on our third day accumulation. So I'll be looking for shorts really today. Morning, Stevie. Morning, Rahat. So yeah, short bias at the moment with the DAX. Quite possibly that IRB or that long wick there potentially is what we'll be looking at for the high. So going to see where we go at the open. I might try a quick short at the open if we break these lows and get straight in, and assume that we're going to try and do this gap fill. So we'll just see what happens at the open. Let's just keep an eye on the FTSE as well. I'm going to do some analysis on all the FX pairs this morning as well. We'll have a look at obviously where we are, RSIs and everything. FTSE's coming down pretty hard. It's only one short on the DAX. We've got a bit of divergence on the FTSE and the DAX at the open. FTSE came down a lot stronger. So it got stop above the high up there. Giving this plenty of room this morning because it's a speculative short rather than any price action or anything else. I'm just speculating we're going to come down and get this gap fill this morning. So yeah, so I'm going to go through all the FX pairs with a view to starting potentially some position trading again this week. This war at the moment, it's at the moment they are obviously it's just business as usual over there for the Russians. They're just encircling Kiev. They're going to try to take Kiev regardless of what happens now. It is just a battle, and it's pretty clear that we are not getting involved. NATO is not interested in getting involved. The US is not getting involved at the moment. So I think it's a little bit safer, and we should see a little bit more stability in currency now. The movement has kind of happened, I think. So unless there is something massive that suddenly escalates the situation, we're in kind of 3 weeks into this now. I think it's going to have to take something pretty big to escalate this, like a nuke or some chemical weapon attacks or accidentally shooting a missile into Poland to make this happen. And if that is the case, then I will be out of positions again like a shot, the same as I was before when the war started. I was in positions, they all started going wrong, and I took a loss on them to get out. And I'll do the same thing again, but I need to get back into some positions. So I'm going to have a look at all the pairs this morning and see what potentially we've got there for entering new positions. So mainly based off obviously 4-hour RSIs, the same as before. I'm going to concentrate, I think, on 4-hour M15. I might do some hourly and M5, but maybe only on specific pairs. So I'm just going to kind of have a look at everything this morning and draw up a list of what I want to trade, really. FTSE's coming down pretty hard. DAX is a little bit less interested this morning. Very big drop on the FTSE, just approaching this low. Morning, Franco. That's weird. A lot of strength on the DAX. Still got 1 minute left on this candle. I'm just going with a sell stop under the low. Second position. If we get down there. Got no ADRs yet this morning. That's a big, strong opening bear move on the FTSE. We should see the DAX get dragged down. A lot of resistance at the minute, though. There we go. Fairly decent opening range. Spinning top. Absolutely no directional bias whatsoever there. Helpful as a chocolate fireguard. Got a fair bit of volatility coming in, but no direction. Great M on the 1 minute. Yeah. Nice reversal alert there off the back of that M. Just nothing at the moment. Starting to push down now. Now the FTSE's got stuck. Okay, big push out the top on the DAX. How do you set up your chart like this? Like what? Which chart are you talking about? This what? This scalping chart? It was just two moving averages, 20 and 50. And the gap indicator. Okay, we're just taking out new highs. Stopped out on that trade, cancelling that pending. All right, we're off. What's the euro up to? Big strong euro again today, look. Taking this higher, massive push. Well, it's not that strong actually. It's strong. Blimey. Okay. DAX is off this morning. So it doesn't look like it wants to do that gap at the minute. Yesterday's high is up at 14.095 basically. Taking a quick short. Just a very, very, very quick attempt to scalp back down this candle. Let's give it a little bit more room. It's only a tiny little 0.2 risk. Just seeing what the FTSE's up to. So the FTSE's basically just retraced inside that candle. Potentially just a pullback on the initial move and then drop. I'm not quite sure why the DAX is so strong this morning, but compared to the FTSE. Just thinking we might get a retracement back down if we're going to continue legging up today. Just looking for the initial retracement on this move. Wow, so he's really bullish this morning. Interesting. Just going to watch this for a few candles to see what it does. And then we'll have a look at the FX pairs. FTSE's looking like it wants to push as well. So, looks like we're long for the day. Well, for the morning, maybe. Okay, closing those out. Cancel that pending off. Right, so just wait for a pullback and then go long. By the looks of things today. So, going to try and play some longs up into those highs. So, wait for some kind of pullback. Not going to chase this all the way up the top here, but we'll see. Right, let's have a look at the FX pairs. So opening range breakout, if you're going to take that, it's a bit too far to take today. Obviously, there's your entry. Your stop's got to be under there. That's a hell of a... you've got to basically get at least that movement to the upside to get out. So not a particularly easy opening range break to play today. Could have played it on a pending order, but obviously that's very dangerous, pending orders, because what it will do is it will gather you up and then stop you out. Same candle a lot of the time. So bit difficult one to play as an opening range break this morning, but now it's going to do the pullback. Now it's taking me out. Look, typical. Right, let's have a look at the RSIs. So whiz through all the FX pairs. Just keep an eye on that one. Let me just move that onto my other chart. 1 second. On my other platform. Down to 5 minutes. I'm just watching it. Right. So RSIs. We've got a lot. Very, 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 very extended. So oil trade is doing okay. So I've got a second position there. Sorry, on the break of this high to try and do that gap fill on oil. Monitor that one as well. So starting with these, I'll start in reverse order. We'll start with the US dollars. US dollar yen. Really, really, really extended, as you can see. We've had a continuation push up this morning as well. Little bit of a gap on the US dollar yen. No, it did actually fill pretty much. So absolutely shot out the highs at the minute, this one. We're sitting up at basically 85, 88, as you can see, virtually 90. So US dollar is really, really, really extended. If you look at the US dollar index, we're not the same as the US dollar yen. So it shows you that there's an awful lot of yen weakness around at the moment. This is still a long, the US dollar at the moment, until we say otherwise or we get told otherwise. So really just looking for pullback and long opportunities on this. So the fact that this is so extended, this US dollar yen, and we've had this massive, massive move where we haven't taken profit on this whole thing. There's an awful lot of drop available on this, but it's a case of trying to figure out when it's going to happen. We need some yen strength to come through, and there just isn't really any at the moment. So there's a very, very decent drop all the way back down to at least the 38 or the 50 level. This propulsion move here out of this accumulation is where I would expect us to get to as a minimum. So it looks like a really, really nice short opportunity. Dropping down onto M15. You're going to have to wait a little bit until you get an alert on this. So it would be a 5-minute entry, which you've had and it's been retested. And we're just sort of hovering around up there at the moment. So really nice opportunity for US dollar yen for shorts. Same for the US dollar Swiss. We did have a profit take in the middle of this move on the US dollar Swiss. We had a bit of Swiss franc weakness, strength coming through. But we should be getting another pullback on this one as well. Again, we need a little bit of a weakness on the US dollar, and obviously a little bit of strength ideally coming through on the others as well, and hopefully we'll get that push back down on this one. But yeah, very, very, very nicely extended. Now these are all counter trend. US dollar is a long, the yen is a short, the Swiss is normally neutral, but at the moment we don't seem to have any strength coming through on it. So both of these are sort of counter trend. They're with the sort of longer term trend, but they're counter COT trend. So just be a little cautious with these. You can see like that's the pullback we had last week. We had a little pullback there. We had an accumulation. There's just been nothing on this, but at some point this is going to come down crashing fairly hard. So it's just a case of waiting. That this is kind of the equivalent to what we're seeing in the opposite direction at the moment. That's what you're looking for as a pullback, profit take move on this. Yeah, big strong push, profit take, big strong push, profit take, big strong push. Waiting for that profit take move. Should be coming in fairly shortly. The fact that we've got FOMC on Wednesday, we could well see a US dollar weaken into FOMC and FOMC be used as a propulsion move higher. So we could see this grind down for a couple of days. So we'll see what happens on those. But yeah, look really, really nice for short opportunities. New Zealand dollar yen, again, big strong push on the New Zealand dollar. With the fact that we've got more weakness coming through on the New Zealand dollar, I would say potentially that looks like a good short. Again, yen just not got any strength on the yen, so this has had a very, very decent push. Yeah, it's not the best propulsion move in the world. Gap there. So yeah, I mean, basically just waiting for the pullback on this one as well. But again, pullbacks at the moment just very, very, very small across the board because we've got nothing happening on the yen. So nicely extended, but only just. I'd be waiting for that to get even more extended, really. So if we can get a continuation push on this, I'd be looking to get in short if we can get up to sort of the 75 level on that one. I wouldn't want to get in that one just yet. New Zealand dollar CAD, that's already, oh no, sorry, that's extended to the downside now. Okay. That was a quick drop. Yeah, we haven't quite reached the support yet on this. So we've got a couple of support levels potentially coming up here. And that's nicely in tune with the 24.72. So if we can get down to there, potentially looking for a little bit of a bounce. Obviously, CAD, oil related. Oil's in a bit of a quandary at the minute. So I would suspect we will probably get continuation to the upside on this one. So this is probably a decent one to be looking at for long opportunities. I'd really want to see it get down to some kind of reaction at one of those levels first, though. Where we are here is kind of accumulating potentially for the next leg down. So I'd be want to wait on that one. And again, it's just extended. RSI extensions, 70, 75 plus is really where I start to get interested. The 68 level is kind of, we need to start looking at potentially where we might bounce. So not quite set up yet. Pound US dollar. Pound is absolutely on its knees at the moment. It's having a bit of a push this morning. Yeah, we've got a bit of a strength coming through on the pound this morning. But the pound US dollar... So let me just quickly look at the DAX. I'm going to take one long on the DAX. So that was the right trade to take, the fade. Obviously just got stopped out on it, unfortunately. So going long. So we've done a pullback. So just looking for basically this propulsion move for the buyers to step in and propel higher. I'm not going to add any more to that just yet. Yeah, pound US dollar, obviously very, very, very extended. But again, with this is against the US dollar. The US dollar is strong at the moment and is potentially going to continue to be strong. So unless the pound gets some strength from somewhere and starts to recover from this massive drop, the same as the euro, this is obviously a short. The COT bias on this one at the moment is a long against a long. But obviously the pound is just not got any money coming into it at the moment. So we're extended. We've got the rates changing this week as well. So economy's not doing particularly amazing. We've got prices and inflation going through the roof. So it's obviously devaluing the pound, and the US dollar is the only thing really that's standing up at the moment. So although this is very nicely extended down here, I wouldn't be looking for much of a pullback. So if you're going to take trades on this, it's almost worth taking 5-minute entries on with the 4-hour at the moment on some of these pairs, and just trying to scalp some and then wait for the next pullback and scalp it back up again. We are going to get a pullback on them, but the pullback's obviously a few and far between. At some point, this is going to get a decent pullback up to the 24. And that's really the play that you're looking for. But quite when at the moment is difficult to say. So pound US dollar, nicely extended. But again, these are all counter trend at the moment. So you just have to be a little bit more cautious with them. Pound CAD, you've probably got more chance on the pound CAD because the CAD may well weaken off of oil. So very, very nice propulsion gap there to aim for. If it is going to continue down, obviously we should get a decent pullback up into that area. You'll have had the reversal alert on that already, so probably just missed it. Yeah, on Friday that was, late Friday, you've got the reversal alert. So kind of missed the boat on that one. We're just coming up into an area potentially where we might get pushed back down again though, so tricky. So yeah, pound CAD, nicely extended, but again, it's kind of counter trend. The Swiss yen is fairly neutral at the minute. So Swiss yen is nicely extended. This would be a nice little short to take, I think, at the moment. We're extended on the 4-hourly. We've just taken out the liquidity up at those highs. We did have a nice pullback on that move, but we haven't had a decent pullback. We just had a little accumulation before we made this next leg up. So that looks like a nice little short there. But again, short term, it's counter trend. But the Swissy and the yen are moving really, really, really nicely. So even if this did push up for another leg, you're going to get that pullback at some point. So pretty easy to trade at the moment. Probably going to be on my list of decent pairs to look for mean reversion on at the moment. CAD yen, very nice extended again. This one's, again, we're waiting on all of these for some kind of yen strength to come through, which is why the US dollar yen is so massively extended at the minute. So at some point we're going to get a decent profit take on this. Again, stick a fib on it and look for where we're going to come down to. We're looking for a 38 to a 50% retracement on the move. There's tons and tons and tons of downside on this. And there's not really anywhere you can draw on this actual move to find a decent level of potential support. We got this down candle here, which is absolutely miles away. Apart from that, that's it. So you're looking at levels. That's probably not going to be very supportive. This is the most recent one after that one. So I'd be looking for us, and that's the 50%. So I'd be looking for that sort of movement, potentially, assuming we're going to continue with a weak yen. So yeah, really nice looking opportunity for a short on the CAD yen. You had a reverse alert on that on Friday. You've just had that invalidated, and they've just taken yesterday's high out during Asia. So spot on for an entry right now on that one. Ready for the drop. CAD yen short. CAD Swiss. Oops. Same sort of thing on the CAD Swiss. We were approaching a double top, which I don't think we got. Not quite. So again, nicely extended on this one off the back of the Canadian dollar. Strength, again, just waiting for a pullback on this one, but you've kind of sort of missed it. It's just retested again this morning, and it's rejecting. So we had the reversal and the retest of the reversal. We've just retested again. So again, it's just market structure. Just watch this accumulation down here, potentially, which is where this propulsion gap is, to see if it gets bought up out of there. If it doesn't get bought up out of there, you've got plenty of room to the downside on that one. DAX is just coming down at the minute. So see if we get bought up in here. CAD Swiss and Aussie dollar CAD. Aussie dollar CAD massively extended. Again, Canadian dollar has had a decent push. Aussie dollar is very, very weak at the moment. don't like this one really as a long at the minute. I think short term, we will get back up to here at some point. But I'm not really sure exactly when that's going to happen. It's due a bounce definitely off of this move. I mean, it's a big old strong move, and we're down in this accumulation again now. So this is really where I'd expect it to start to make its next leg up. But the Aussie dollar is still very weak. It's been beating the Canadian dollar. But I don't know. It's just something about this one doesn't quite sit right at the moment with what's going on. The Aussie dollar, we had massive strength on the Aussie and the New Zealand dollars when this all kicked off with Ukraine. We had these big, strong pushes up. It was almost like money was flowing into the Australasian pairs as safe havens rather than the usual places we see money shifting to. But it's all completely got unravelled. So at the moment, this seems to be fairly linked with what's going on with oil. So it looks like a good bounce point for a long. But I'm just not sure what is going on with these Aussies and New Zealands at the moment. So again, with this one, I'd probably be looking for pullback and fairly small trades in case this is the new market structure shift to the downside on this one. But again, it's still very, very difficult to analyze technically because we've got something moving the market which is non-fundamental and non-technical. It's the war, and at any moment stuff can change on a dime, but all the sanctions are in place now. So we should see the market starting to return, I think, back to some more normality until the next thing comes, whatever that may be, whether it be a ceasefire, a surrender, or a nuclear weapon. We don't know. Whatever it's going to be the next thing that's going to shift the market. So we just have to trade from what we can see at the moment. So you have to kind of go with normal, what you would expect to happen. So in this case, nice extension. If it does extend further down, you'll be looking for a bounce off of the 72 and somewhere in this accumulation or back down to there. So either going to push down and bounce from there, or we're going to get the bounce where we are at the moment on that one. The hourlies, very much the same thing. Aussie dollar CAD obviously extended on the hourly. Aussie dollar, US dollar extended on the hourly. Nice extension there on the Aussie US, but again, this one you would expect if the US dollar is going to continue to strengthen to continue to push down. Very nice market structure on it. So I would think that's got a little bit more of a down before the next leg up. But where we've bounced from there is this level of support. So nice support level. They've just taken all the liquidity out from anybody that was longing from any of those spots. So potentially next leg back, but I'd be looking for pullback and short. So this is just a kind of counter trend bounce that you'd be playing on that one. Aussie dollar, US dollar. CAD yen's only just extended because we got massively extended on Friday and it's still pushing up. Pound odd, nicely extended. So this is not a bad short here, pound odd. So we're just pushing back up into this accumulation, potentially next leg down. But we have had a reversal alert on this on the hourly, and we've just put in a new higher low. So potentially we're looking to put in a new higher high. So if you want to take this as a short, it's either going to react here and invalidate that and go lower. Otherwise, it's going to continue to push up. If it continues to push up, it's going to be so extended by the time it gets up there, it's going to come down like a house of cards when they do a profit take. Either way, it's a short opportunity at the moment. I'd be more short at the moment on the pound than long. DAX is still coming down a little bit. New Zealand dollar CAD. New Zealand dollar CAD, we've just had a reversal alert. I don't like these big long reversal alerts. Basically, this is an accumulation. This is not a reversal alert. This is just an accumulation. It's just happened to go and make a new low. Got very, very extended. As you can see, we've got extended. We've accumulated. We've not gone anywhere. Potential for another leg down on this, which is fine. If you were to get in here, obviously you're just going to have another leg, but I'd be more inclined to wait for another leg to come in on that one. It's not that extended. Again, 75s on the hourlies. I want to see things getting really extended before I get interested. I'm not interested really in these lower levels at the minute at all. I want to see safe trades. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. Again, this one basically counter trend. We're expecting the US dollar to keep strengthening up. Therefore, this should continue to come down. So if you're going to play this, you want to look on M5 and look for that sort of movement to come in. Just had a reverse alert on M5, which retested and is pushing up at the moment. So, but again, only just extend. Oh, sorry. Now that one's just got a little bit more extended down to the 70, and it's just starting to pull up. But I think really to be safe, 75.25 is really where I would look to get interested in at the minute. Anything that gets extended to that level, I'm interested. Otherwise, I'm not. I just want to take things which are really, really, really extended, and you're going to be much safer because obviously the logic is if you get in when it's really extended and it goes another leg, it's really, really extended. Therefore, the profit take is much more likely. So get in. Don't try and get in at 68.32s because you're going to get stung, I think, at the minute. Stuff is pushing and squeezing, and we want to make sure that we're getting in when something is already really squeezed. And US dollar yen, we looked at on the 4 hour. Again, if it's extended on the 4 hour and it's extended on the hourly, it means it's been a very recent push, as we can see here. We are just sitting up here at the moment, potentially flagging, but it's more of an accumulation. Very, very nicely extended. I would expect us to get some kind of drop ahead of FOMC. How far, how quick, difficult. It may be that they want to push up and then they'll use FOMC to pull back. Don't know. Either way, this is the same as when we've always position traded. You don't know what's going to happen. The market is in control. You're not in control. You have to get in when you get signals, and then you deal with the positions afterwards. So if you get in here, expecting to get a pullback down to there, and it pushes up for another leg, you wait. You get in for your second leg and wait for the move after that. And in which case, then it's already up here, and you're over here, and then we know that's going to happen. And that's obvious from what we saw with that euro move that we had. Yeah, when we got like stupid extensions on the euros, yeah, the more extended you get, the more likely that bounce is, regardless of the economics going on. The speculators in the market have to take profits on their move to make sure they power themselves up for next legs if they're going to put them in. So you're always going to get that sort of movement. It's just obviously the further you get in, the further extension you get in, the less drawdown you're going to take before you get your reward. That's all it is. And at the moment, I want to sit through as little drawdown as possible because I want to make sure that if something does escalate, I can hit that exit button and get out of those positions with as little loss as possible, if it comes to that. So, Franco, you're in short on Aussie US. Very nice. Probably will want to get out of that at the minute. When I woke up, was reported virus outbreaks again in China. Really? I haven't looked at the news this morning, FX wise. China to lock down. What? Oh, God. Oh my God, not again. We are barely out of the Russian mess. What do you mean barely out of it? We haven't even got into it. Barely out of it. Oh my God. What's the Jilin province? Is that another chemical factory or something? Wow. Why is that not red news? That's interesting. I've said it many times over the last few weeks, and I'll continue to say it. This thing at the moment, everything in the markets is being controlled by external forces, way out of everybody's control at the moment, and you've just got to keep it as tight as you possibly can. I'd rather, at the moment, I think, set up my EA on 80/20 on H4 M15 and maybe 85.15 on the hourly. And if I don't take any trades, I don't take any trades. But the trades I will take will be massively extended by the time I get into them. So the drawdown is going to be minimized as much as possible. You've got things like that happening. If that turns out to be COVID-22 and we've got to sit through a new COVID outbreak for 2 years while there's a war going on, we've got inflation at highest levels it's been forever, and we've got a refugee crisis in Europe, I don't have that much hope for anything financial markets, do you? What chance do we stand, eh? Energy prices going through the roof. It's just nuts. But which is why I'm kind of in and out as fast as I can on these small time frames at the moment. I'm going to commit a cardinal sin in 2 minutes if this ends as bullish engulfing. And I'm going to add to this loser with a very tight stop. Obviously, it's a cardinal sin because I'm scalping rather than position trading. Otherwise, it's not a cardinal sin. It's the norm. So, yeah, I mean, stuff like this, 80-20, 85-15s, you're pretty safe on this. Even if they push to another leg, you're going to get out of those trades because they will pull them back. It's just the safest option. President Biden was requested to use his executive power to suspend gas taxes. He said no. Why should the government give a cash cow? Why, indeed. Our government's giving us all £350 a month if we take in a Ukrainian refugee family, and that's, you know, as much as I'd love to. £350 a month is not going to cover them, and at the moment my bills are doubling. It's just an impossible situation, isn't it? Filled my scooter, $4.25, outrageous, yeah. Yeah, living in a new era, definitely, Proster. This is, you know what, my wife and I have been saying for the last couple of years, there's that word again, we keep seeing on the news, unprecedented. Everybody keeps using that unprecedented word, and every time we get that unprecedented word, we get used to it. Someone else says unprecedented in a new way that you've not heard before, like China just locking down again because they might have released another virus. It's just unprecedented act after unprecedented act. We are just not used to living through so much volatility and so much uncertainty. It's impossible. You can't predict anything. So if you're going to trade mean reversion, you want to take the A++ setups. If you're going to scalp, you just basically got to get in, hold on by the seat of your pants and grab as much as you possibly can. Going one more long on the DAX. Assuming this, we've got our lows in here. Yeah, this is a 20 bounce. Stop on the second position below the 50 in case we get a 50 bounce. I'm assuming we are going to go long today. FTSE feels heavy though, look. FTSE still feels heavy. We've got real divergence at the moment across the markets. Let's have a look at what the S&P and the rest is up to. So Nasdaq's short. S&P short. So market structure short on the S&P as well. Oh, it's a tricky market this morning. Tricky. Dow. Yeah, it's just indecision at the moment. We will be back with swords and horses. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Swords and horses. And we'll be reinforcing our cars with steel plates and spikes like in Mad Max. You know, I honestly, sometimes I just think The Walking Dead is not far away. And that's just before we get hit by a nuclear missile that wipes out 50% of the population. And then just after that, a meteor hits us and wipes out 25% of that's those of, that are left. And then just after that, the aliens land and start invading the planet. Ugh, it's doom and gloom, isn't it? Anyway, we'll see. Opening a hot dog stand is starting to sound like a great idea. Yeah, no one's got any money for hot dogs. Look at this DAX. What's going on, man? DAX is just not happy this morning either, is it? This is going to end up like 1.5% loss this morning. So just looking for an accumulation here. And next leg up. So don't want this opening range low really to get invalidated. See if we can hold that. US dollar index, obviously, we've had a good push up. We're pulling back nicely on the US dollar at the minute, which you would expect the indices to be rising off, but they're not. So again, US dollar looking for these highs at some point this week. Whether that's going to be before FOMC or after FOMC, not sure. So still definitely looking for longs on US dollar, but I think we're going to be, at the moment, we're in the hands of obviously the market makers and whether or not they want to pull back or push early on in the week. With FOMC week, the same as non-farm payroll, we get one or two things happening. We either get an accumulation Monday, Tuesday, where they will just run stops all week and build a position, and then they'll use FOMC to make profit off of that position. Or we see a push and liquidity run in one way or the other, and then FOMC is a pullback into the mean. So you can't tell at the moment. Obviously, it's too early in the day on a Monday to tell what's going to happen. But at the moment, they're obviously pulling back. They could well just do that this morning and do a liquidity run, and then they'll pull back down to here, entice everybody to go short, come back up, take those out. Again, everyone goes long. They come, put their stops under there. They come down, and we end up doing that for Monday, Tuesday. Or they're going to pull it back, in which case then I'll be looking for FOMC to push long. Or they're going to push up, take that liquidity, and then run it short. So can't tell at the moment. It's too early. But one of those things is going to happen. We don't know which. If we did, we'd be millionaires. Here in Kuwait, the government is willing to provide anti-nuclear medics for all citizens. Anti-nuclear medics? What's that? Do you mean medicine? There's no such thing as anti-nuclear medicine. You'd be fried to a crisp. There's no medicine that stops that. Not that I'm aware of. Unless the Kuwaiti government has developed something that we all want to purchase. Which wouldn't... I believe everything at the minute. Honestly. There's nothing off the table. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of a bounce off the DAX. Entry on that IRB. If you're not in. There's an entry there. Headline, France News Agency. Million will be locked down, worst in 2 years. Multiple provinces. Talking about China. Really? Oh, my God. I mean, again, you know, I'm talking about putting positions on the table, and then you hear news like that coming in. And I don't have to remind you what happened when COVID hit, do I? Look at any chart, March 2020. You know, if China has let another one go, sounds unbelievable, unprecedented, even fact. Is there any reason why that's not going to happen again? You know, do you want to be the wrong side of that in a position? Makes the Ukraine war drop look like a micro movement, doesn't it? You know, it's just you just have to take it day by day at the moment. I suppose the good thing at the moment is there's a lot less population movement going around. So we've obviously got less movement around, therefore less movement around means less spreading of viruses. And I think this time round, if that is the case, we are not letting China in. There are no planes going to be landing from China in the UK. We learnt last time, the first thing you do is shut your borders. That's what New Zealand did. They didn't have any cases. Yeah, the rest of the world is going to go, nope, you're not coming in. So I think basically China will get wiped out, which means Russia will then invade China. They will take China over and become that massive landmass over there, invade Taiwan, and then it's just basically East versus West. Simples. God, I'm a doomsayer, aren't I? Doom scroll. Come here every day, twice a day for a doom scroll. Olympic blowback, yeah. Short, full margin, huh? Yeah. Yeah, it's like that, isn't it? But this is what I said to do back here. Remember, I said, didn't I? Where was it? Here, I was contemplating right there. I said, right now is where we want to hit the short button, and we want to put. The play at the time, if anybody was in the live room and remember me saying this, was I'm going to go 5k short here, and I'm going to hold it. And I entered some positions, and we had a lovely big move, and I saw my balance increase. So I was like, oh, I'm getting out. And then I'll get in again on a pullback. We pulled back, we shorted it. The trouble I have is I can't hold 5k short because you're sitting down here on 30, 40, 50 grand's worth of profit. I can't leave that on the table. What if this is going to be a W? You know, it's hard. So looking for short plays really on stuff at the moment, which makes me think, why the hell am I long in the DAX? But hey, it's hard not to do what you're used to doing. Oil dropping 109. Oh, good. There goes my oil trade then. Oil dropping 109 average. Yeah, so I'm longing oil back up to 109 at the minute. I've only got the single position on at the moment. Just playing the gap fill this morning. So we'll see. Right, so my plan. Let me just open the VPS. Set your retirement trade, yeah. Do you know what? I don't think I'm going to get a retirement, to be honest. The way the world's going at the moment, I've probably got, 5-10 years left? Honestly, it's just like, what do you do? So, EA-wise. So, plan. So this is H1M5. So I've got lots of pairs set up, H1M5. The entries at the moment are off of, is this H1M5? Yeah. So at the moment I've got the RSI filters set to, whoops, wrong one, sorry. 1 hour, 21, 75.25. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hourly RSI extensions up to 80.20. So I will get into any positions on M5 where we've got an hourly 80-20 extension. So I want stuff to get really, really, really extended, and I will take those trades. I'm going to keep the pairs limited. There's no directional bias on these apart from mean reversion. So Euro US dollar, I mean, even on the way the euro is going at the moment, there's bullish price action coming through on the euro. Even when you get these ridiculous drops on the euro, you do get the bounces, and the bounces should be enough to get out. But what I'll be doing is monitoring these, and I think if I'm going to go long euro US dollar, because we've had a big drop down, I'm going to monitor them and see if we can basically get a break even. So if I get into 2 or 3 positions on a euro long, and I get back to break even, I'll probably just close it out, just to be safe. So a little bit of manual intervention, which is always what I do anyway. These are the pairs that I typically run on. Run on Euro Pound, Aussie US, Aussie CAD, Pound US, Aussie New Zealand, Euro New Zealand, Euro CAD New Zealand, and the Swiss yen. So I'm going to keep the pairs the same, but I'm just going to make sure that on all of these, I'm going to extend the RSI extensions for the moment to 80-20. So I'm just going to give it, I want it to be that little bit more extended. So on the hourly RSIs, I'm not taking these. Yeah, I'll take them if they get here. Yeah, so I want it to be very, very, very extended before I'm getting interested in stuff. DAX is dancing up 2%, is it? So potential market structure, but also potential market structure is bearish. So don't want these lows to get invalidated. Just going to reduce risk on one of these a little bit. I don't really want that there. Just moving my stops on the 50. So that's the H1 M5 mean reversion. This is H4 M15 mean reversion. Those are the pairs that I'm running on. Again, inputs wise on these, looking for oops, move. Higher time frame RSI on the 4 hour is the 14 at the 70-30 is the normal levels. So again, I'm going to go 75-25. So I want to be super extended before I'm getting into anything. And like I say, if it doesn't get me into any trades for a week, that's fine. I just want to be super, super, super safe. So that's what I'm going to do with those H4 M15s, 75-25 extensions. So on the H4s, yeah, I'll be taking those three. Yeah. I've also got mean reversion trend pullbacks set up. So this is the mean reversion trend pullback strategy. I'm not going to activate this. Reason being is with the trend pullback strategy, you do often get into a lot of the trades that you will on the other strategies as well. But with this one, this is H4 M15 trend pullback. The higher time frame is set to 60-40. And you're going to get into a lot of trades on these, and the trend pullback does get into an awful lot more positions, and it also gets into a lot more drawdown, and that's what I don't want to at the moment. And there's no point in me extending this up to 70-30, for example, because then I might as well just be playing mean reversion on H4 M15, and I've already got the EA doing that for me on this account. So there's no point in having the trend pullback strategy running at all at the moment, so I'm going to leave that one blank. The COT bias strategy, again, I don't really want to run this one either. This runs every pair in line with COT bias, and I don't think at the moment COT bias is anywhere near as effective as it should be. So I'm not going to bother running this one either. So I'm literally just going to use H4 M15, and I'm using 75-25 as the RSI extensions, and H1 M5 mean reversion, and we're going to be extending these out to 80-20. So much, much, much bigger extensions. So just up by 5 on both from what I normally run. A little bit safer. And we'll see what happens with those. So that's my plan, is to set those running this morning. And just adjust all those, and then those are my positions that I'll get into. So it will take a couple of trades for me today, based on these RSI extensions on the 4 hourlies. So nice little push there. IRB, entry above the high there. Let's catch up on the chat. I just bought a VPS from Contabo. Cool. Breaking news, 17 million on lockdown now. Why is Forex Factory not getting any of this news? Where are you getting this breaking news from? Just going to look at the BBC News channel, see if there's anything on there about it. It's obviously a bit too close to breaking news. Anyway. Many imports coming from there, yeah. Right, so if Trump wins the elective 2024, stock market will go up to new higher area. If he wins that, very unlikely, in my opinion. They wanted him out. They got him out. They're not going to let him back in. China stocks dropping hard, affecting the little dragon markets. Pulled out many imports. Bloomberg, is it? Yeah. Okay. So be careful this morning, obviously. That's another thing to add. So basically what we've got to worry about at the moment is a new COVID outbreak from China. We've got war in the Ukraine. We've got inflation at all-time highs. We've got oil and gas prices going through the roof. And we've got the potential of some kind of nuclear war and World War III if he accidentally chucks a missile into Poland, which he missed by 10 miles at the weekend, and or something else happens that brings Europe into. So at the moment, technical analysis, I would say pretty much as useful as a chocolate fireguard, because this is what is in fact impacting the market at the moment. So your guess is as good as mine where anything is going to go any second of the day. So if you're going to get into positions, I would say if you're going to position trade, drawdown control, really 3 or 4 positions is where you want to start doing drawdown control, regardless of what your drawdown is, and be fairly aggressive with it, I would. If you're scalping, just don't take too much time with your scalps, because if you're in there for more than sort of 15 to 20 minutes, there's a high probability something's going to happen in the world which will spike the market. Good luck, everyone. Oh, it's hideous. Right. So that's my plan for this morning. I'm going to get the EA all set up this morning. Just whiz through, change those, get that running to start position trading again, so we can start monitoring some position trades. Scout-wise, at the moment I'm long. I'm going to see if we can get a push up to these highs. I'm 0.5% down, no, 0.7% down this morning so far. So we will see what happens this morning on that. We've got 0.3% profit at the minute. If we break up to these highs, I'll probably take this one off and then break even on that one. But looking for a breakout to the highs. Obviously, we have also, and that oil trade is just sitting there going nowhere at the minute. We've also got this gap fill. At some point, this gap fill is going to get filled. If they don't do it today, I'm pretty sure we're going to come back and fill this at some point. So I would suspect later on today, maybe New York, we might see a push down. So for those of you that didn't know, I put a message in the Telegram group. I've changed the page on the website for the next 2 weeks. It's 1 o'clock UK time for the PM session, because now the market opens at 1:30 in the UK, not 2:30. So I will be on at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So just to remind you, if I miss it, somebody tell me, because I'm just that used to coming on at 2. But anyway, so yeah, I'll be back at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Decent push starting on the DAX, hopefully here. So market structure is holding from the opening range lows. We're just looking for that high. We may well not do that this morning. We'll see what happens. But that's my play long this morning. Just looking to get sort of maybe 1.5% off of this trade. Because I think at some point we're going to have a drop on the DAX today. Best time for trading, yeah. At the moment, best time for trading is it's volatile as you like, and as traders, that's what we make our money out of, volatility. But we make our money out of volatility when we know, or we can gauge a direction that the market is going in, and we have no real indicators to tell us any direction at the minute because someone says something and something moves, and at the minute, it's difficult to tell which direction we're going in. So you've got to be very, very careful. Is there a 4-hour resistance just above on the DAX? Yeah, so we got this high. It's basically yesterday's high. So I mean, you got this area up here from last week. Oh, yeah, that's yesterday's high. But I mean, we're looking. 20. If we get back to the 24, I'd be surprised if we can get back to the 24 today. I'd be very surprised. Well, that's going to take a hell of a move in the London session to get itself back up there, isn't it? But and I think we're going to want to come down and do the gap fill. But irregardless, I'm short on indices. And if this does turn out to be COVID-22 in China, obviously very early reports, and there's not an awful lot, but a lot of news coming out in Forex Factory about it. But if that is, I'm not going to be longing anything. I should be shorting. If things push up, like this morning, I was short this morning. I've changed my bias because I saw the market do that. So I changed my bias to a long. But I'm not long term, I'm short. If COVID-22 comes out, I'm not even going to be, if the market wants to push long, that's fine. I'll just short it all the way up. A Russia farts, a New York broker screams sell, insane. Yeah, a Russian farts. Yeah. I was interested in watching the Brits last night. They were not interested in Russia, were they? Lots of quips against Putin in that. Oh, look, North Korea may test ICBM as soon as this week. That's good. That's the next lunatic to get involved. That rocket accidentally flies off and hits China. Ugh. Why can't we just stop shooting rockets? World's full of idiots. Anywho, right, so pushing up on the DAX. So this is the only trade I'm taking this morning. I'm break even now, 0.7 down, 0.7 back up on these two. So I'm looking for 1.5%, try and bag 0.7 this morning on a couple of pushes up on the DAX. Then I'm going to sit by and watch and get everything set up from the EA's perspective this morning. Anybody got anything else they want to look at? Let me know. I'm going to be back this afternoon at 1 o'clock, obviously, and we'll have a look at the markets and see if we can trade the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq, as usual. This is my funded account, by the way. I'm up. I've got a 5k target on this. I'm up at 2k at the minute, so I've still got 3k to go on this account. I did some testing as well at the weekend on candlestick patterns. I need to back test them properly. I've only back tested them over 3 months, but I've got some decent set files for the Price Action Toolkit EA, which have produced some fairly decent results. What I've done basically is every candlestick pattern, I've tested each one individually. So I've found optimal setups for the DAX for quite a few of the candlestick patterns. But I need to do a full back test over 12 to 18 months and just see what happens. And see if they hold up over a longer period of time. But short term, they look very promising. So I'm going to do some more testing on those this week as well. New highs on the DAX. Just put in. Let's just see where we're going on this. Bit difficult to tell where we're heading, isn't it? It's a long way. Do you reckon we could do that today? That was a big move that caused that. So I'm not sure we're going to get anywhere near there. In fact, we look like we're pulling off a double top at the moment. So oil's dropping hard, is it? That's what I just said. Yeah. So I might get stopped out on that oil trade. I'm going to leave this, even if we've just basically taken out yesterday's low and the Asian low there. So this could well just be a liquidity run of the lows of Friday and here, which is why I've got my stop down there. So if I get stopped out of that one, that's fine. I'm going to leave this buy stop in place in case we get a big strong propulsion move, which will get that gap filled, which will more than pay for that initial position. So we'll see, but I'm not going to pay too much attention to it. It's either going to work or it's not. China market down 10% and dropping. What's the China index? God, what they're going to call it in here? So many indices. That's Nikkei. Is it the Hang Seng, isn't it? That's Hong Kong. I've never ever looked at the China index. I don't even know what the ticker is in here on this one. Anybody know? I'm looking under C, obviously, because that would be too obvious, wouldn't it? Being under China. Top 9 China crypto. iPhone production has stopped. I can't find it in there. Shanghai Composite. Well, Shanghai Composite's only... Oh, it's closed. That's not it then, is it? What's it called? I've never looked at it. China 50. Well, that's what I would expect it to be. Uh, 1.2. Closing 1. Going break even on the second position. Oil's just taken... Oh, no, it hasn't. China 50. That would be obvious to be under C for China 50, wouldn't it? But it's not. France, Germany. It's not the Hang Seng. Chainlink. Let's have a quick look in. Japan. Just don't have it. Let's try Axie. Indices. Nifty 50. VIX. France, DAX, Nikkei, Hang Seng. It's not the Nikkei, that's Japan, isn't it? China 50. Got there in the end. Well, it's certainly not happy, is it? It's closed. But it's not ticking anyway. God, that's weird hours, isn't it? $12.10. Should be open, shouldn't it? Anyway, yeah. Don't know much about the China index, but yeah, if that is collapsing, that's not good, is it, either? World's gone nuts, as Piers Morgan would say. Right, so got one running long. Going to look for, hopefully, a pullback and push without taking me out on that one. China 50, but closed to Franco. Sorry to make everyone crazy, just saying what I see. No, I think we know this is. I'm interested because it's important. Because the reason I'm interested in China more at the moment than I normally am is because the entire world has sanctioned Russia. Russia's only fallback is China. And if China is about to go through some massive economic problem or release some virus which is going to kill half its population or whatever's going to happen, that stuffs Russia even more, which will obviously have an impact on what it does with sanctions, potentially. So it does all seem completely engineered, doesn't it? Everything's coming to a head. China basically are going to face massive consequences if they help Russia, because obviously we will sanction China. So they've got to be very, very careful what they do. So maybe they've decided to kill half their population off so it's cheaper to run their country by releasing a new virus. It's Resident Evil. Anywho, right. So I'll leave it there, guys, this morning. You know what I've got on? I've got oil long. I've got a DAX long. Hopefully I don't get stopped out on that one. I'll be targeting... what's that? 0.5% on this trade. Sorry, 1% on this trade. So looking for another 0.5%. And that'll do me for the morning, I think. At the moment, 0.5% in the bank. I'll be happy with that. So I'll be back on at 1 o'clock and we'll have a look at what's happening with the indices ahead of the New York Open at 1:30. And we'll have a look at what's happened with the FX markets this morning. But yeah, just be careful this morning if you're trading FX. There's potentially a lot of news floating around by the sounds of things to do with China as well now. So there's an awful lot of potential flashpoints for market movement. And it's FOMC week. So, you know, anything can happen this week. It's going to be a busy one. Okay, so I'll leave it there this morning, guys. Anything you need, come into the Telegram group. I will be in there, as I usually am. And obviously, we'll be back this afternoon, 1 o'clock. We'll see if we can scalp some money out of the US indices. And until then, trade safe. Have a good morning. I'll see you at 1.